Thanks for joining our Agentic series session 4. We are taking the session on MCP. So before that, I'll give you a quick agenda. So I'll give you introduction from UGME, and Subhashish will take care of MCP and deep diving and agents creation. We'll try to do some hands-on and use cases. At the end, we'll take up the Q&A. And views expressed are from speakers, do not represent from Microsoft or their employers. Contest demo and lab environments are used for the events. Any recommendations coming should not be applied to production environment directly. Should test in a sandbox environment. The session will be recorded on Teams. If you do not consent to be part of the recorded session, it's a good time to disconnect. So you guys can reach out to us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and website. So we are 1,400 plus members and growing as we speak. So this group is supported by Naman Alwala, Anita Ishwaran, and Umesh, along with me. You guys can access our past sessions from our YouTube channel, D365 User Group Middle East. Please do subscribe and click on the bell icon so that you get notified once after the session. We'll also upload all our videos in our channel. Today's session will be focusing on MCP servers and its capabilities, completely done by Subhashish. And myself, I am Venkatesh, 10 plus years of experience on AX and F&O, residing in Dubai. I manage this user group along with the team. And you guys can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Subhashish, over to you.
All right, can you guys hear me? I'm just about to share my screen. And let me know once you can see my screen. Let me just take it into presentation mode. All right, so yeah, thanks. First of all, thank you, Venkatesh, for to arrange for all this meetup, and thank you, team, for taking out some time from your weekend, weekend activities to spend some time with us. So yeah, so this, as Venkatesh was describing, this session is going to be a completely interactive session between Dynamics 365, just not finance and operations, but also CE and a lot of new avenues that are coming up. MCP is, MCP altogether is doing an excellent job in streamlining, in reducing in lot of manual activities, lot of developer activities, lot of things that we need to do. We were, sick and tired of doing it again and again manually, but MCP is carrying out all these activities on automatically. So we are going to see, like, the model context protocol, as we call it, as we know it better, actually is how you can set it up, how can you do the do the needful of interacting, making it interact with Dynamics 365. What is MCP, first of all, on all these innuendos? So with that, let me just go to the next screen. Yeah. So this is what we are going to cover on a net scale. So we are going to see there is something very new to Dynamics world, that is anyone who is not very much conversant and not much familiar with MCPs. We would see like how to set up the MCP servers. We would see how you can interact with the MCP servers, how you can set up something very new which has come called the agent feeds on Canvas app, which is a very beautiful and a brilliant feature introduced very recently. We will see another very exciting feature known as the BP analytics, which is basically, a visual representation of your data from, from MCP standpoint. We'll see how you can make use of crowd operations in MCP servers. We'll see how you can feed, MCPs, the agentic feeds on immersive home. This is also a new feature that is upcoming in the Dynamics world. And we'd see how to set up MCP servers on Visual Studio. This is more for, more of a technical, technical, I would say, point of view, because with this, you can be able to create skills that are going to make your agents much more interactive with your end users. Let's see how you can leverage all of it. So this is just a small introduction of myself. Myself, Subhashish. I am having close to 19 years of industrial experience. I work on these the few areas like Dynamics 365, Fabric, Azure AI, not to mention Copilot Studio and Power Platform. This is my LinkedIn profile and this is my YouTube channel. I'm requesting you to please subscribe to my channel just in case if you have not and I'm an MVP also. And I work with PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Acceleration Centers in India. So requesting you just to stop me whenever I'm not able to see any hands up. So I would request you to please stop me and ask questions just in case if you need any clarification in the midst of the session. Okay. With that, just a few moments of very boring slides. So just to give you a overview of model context protocols with Dynamics 365. So you can read this slide. This slide is giving you, a theoretical overview of how the large language modeling is interacting with the MCP services and how CRM, ERPs, and all the applications
Shubhashish,
are.
we lost you. Can you represent one more time?
Okay, shall I go back and come from here?
Just
Is it fine?
start presenting again. Yeah,
Okay, can you see my screen? No, no.
not yet.
Okay, let me share it in 1 second.
We lost you from
Please,
second screen, Subhashish.
got it. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, so just I'm going to show you like this slide is more of an introduction. What it is doing is that it is you can read the slide, but it's very boring. Let me tell you the background of MCP services. Imagine a situation where you are writing a logic whereby it is bringing the address specific weathers. So say for example, you want to find out what is going to be my weather for Dubai on today. And you are asking the weather API services, weather API services, you are passing on the coordinates to the weather API services by using a very complex JSON. And then what the API is doing is that it's querying some kind of database, some kind of a tool, some kind of a service that is, querying this with these details and getting back to you with a very complex JSON, which you again carrying out some kind of a logic to parse it manually. And all this loop back and forth, all these things are going to cost you a whole lot of time to do your developments and all this. And just not that. In meanwhile, some complexities. Say, for example, I just not want to find out the weather on a given location, but I would also find out like when is it going to rain, when is it going to be dry, what is going to be the humidity. So all these questions I'm passing on by calling different APIs, different JSONs for that, and I'm getting different responses for that also. So imagine this, like in tomorrow, suddenly this weather API has changed its data structures. Again, you have to go and find out what is going to be your best possible way to refresh your data entities, refresh your core data JSON structures and all these things. So instead of that, model context protocol is going to make your journey much more smoother and easier. So you just need to ask in a language, natural language, what's going to be my weather in Dubai on, say, for example, today or 2 days from now. So automatically, the MCP server is going to find out the correct tool for you, the correct, uh, in layman's language, the correct API for you. And it's going to come back to you with all its details in your understandable format. So no need to pass on a JSON, no need to format the JSON, no need to, interact with anything. And more than that, it understands that it's you. Say, for example, Venkatesh has an API login to this server. So it will ascertain that it is really Venkatesh. It's not, John Doe or Jane Doe who's trying to forcefully log into the API server. So imagine this kind of a possibility where it makes your life, a developer's life, much more easier. You don't need to find out the correct API call. You don't need to trace out the JSON. You don't need to download the JSON, do the parsing of the JSON. All of it is going to be handled by this model context protocol. So this is where the model context protocol is becoming. This is how it is becoming so popular, so much popular over the last few months of its invention. Okay, so with that, let me go to the next slide, which is saying, okay. So these are, you see, these are the different utilities for Dynamics 365. You see, it's a huge palette of utilities that are available. Data integration, custom workflows, advanced reporting, enhanced security, API services, backup and recovery, and automated processes. So you can leverage all of this quanta of your technicalities just in a click of a button. Just you ask what you want to do. Say, for example, you want to find out, like, what is my customer balance for this customer and for over the last quarter. Just you ask this, it's going to do the needful of understanding. Okay, so this person is saying, asking me to query these tables over over these conditions, this what queries, this query date ranges, and going to come back to you with the details. So imagine this, like, it's a your life as a developer, as a solution architect, as a function consultant is going to be as simple as just as if you are talking to your secretary, talking to your friend, talking to someone who's standing close by. So imagine such a kind of situation. Like, this is why the MCP server is becoming so, the vantage point of so much of importance these days. And most importantly is the benefits of using Dynamics 365 with MCP server. So you see the intelligent CRM insights are there, streamlined ERP automation is there, customized responses is there, continuous learning is there, customized responses. You can get customized responses as much as you want. Just not you can keep on asking. You can keep on changing the prompt. You can. I will show you what is that I'm meaning here. I can show you, like, basically you're not happy with the response. You can ask the question. You can rephrase the question in a different context, and you can get the different responses as per your convenience. It can also secure the data handling, as I was saying, like, it's going to ensure the any illicit, any illegitimate, anyone who is not a part of this play is not getting into the play. And not to mention seamless integration tools, enhanced HR solutions, streamlined ERP automations, all these benefits. Basically, you can get just in a few lines of your command prompts. You hit enter, and it's going to come back to you with all the details. So I'll show you, like, how much you can make out of MCP servers. It's very easy, and it's all about the RAG. It's retrieval augmentation and all these procedures. Basically, it is following. So we all know about the RAG features. RAG is something basically that makes use of that. If you examine, for example, if you go to GitHub, so GitHub, you are saying, can you generate uh, can you tell me what is the weather conditions and temperatures at Mars? Okay, so if you ask this, it's going to go back to some kind of a knowledge base, and it's going to come back to you with details. But if you ask it, like, can you tell me what are the RAM, ROM, and all my hardwares are in my laptop from where I am logging on and asking me this question? GitHub might not be able to answer you that. So for that, you have to do some kind of a RAG activities, so by which it can also get itself accustomed, familiar, or it can understand your inputs with the it by going back to the RAM, ROMs, hardwares, and all these things. You can come back to it. So this exactly happens when if you open Azure portal and if you ask a question like, can you tell me how many virtual machines are there in my subscription? When you say that and hit enter, it queries by understanding your natural language inputs, by understanding its various kinds of the resource queries, and finds out and come back to you in your understandable responses. So this is what the copilot exactly, or the MCP server exactly is helping out with. So I'm taking a pause here. Let me know, like, if you have any questions, I will try to clarify before I jump on to something really, really exciting. All right. No worries. You can ask me questions as we go on. So, okay, let me take you to something very, 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 very easy. So, for this, what I've done is that I have this is our Dynamics 365, very, very popular, very popular immersive home. So, immersive home, we all know this has been introduced as a part of the Copilot's journey. So, if I take you back to the Dynamics 365s, okay, if I take you back to Dynamics 365 agents and I'm taking you to the agent called, if you click on this agents, Copilot Studio, if I go to the agents, I'll be able to see there is an agent called known as a famous agent known as the Dynamics, I mean, Copilot for Finance and Operations. Uh, One second. Me Go here. If I'm not able to find it, I can also search from here. The search engines are Copilot for Finance and Operations and clicking on this link. So here, if I click on tools, I'll be able to see the all the tools that are associated with this agent. So tools are basically what you need to install to interact with your data by using, say, for example, your created tools, your created or Microsoft's created tool or someone else's created tool, you can add that tool in your agent. So you can add a tool. Say, for example, I added this tool called Dynamics 365 ERP NCP. If I click on this, I can see the inputs that are available. So if I click on this inputs, you see these are the inputs. So the inputs, it does not have any input, but you can click on add an input and you can keep on adding inputs as much as possible. Say, for example, the session IDs that I'm not looking for, excuse me, I'm not looking for session IDs and all that, but you can keep your tools. You can keep your MCPs be flooding with a number of inputs, uh, and you can get them and make your MCP be responsive, much more responsive and much more lively. Okay. And the tools, you see so many tools are there: form open, form close, find actions, invoke actions, data entities. So much of tools are there which are out of the box and are available already in MCP. So we will see like how are these tools working. It's amazing. Like it's basically works like just as you are talking to someone in person. Okay. And most importantly is, like if I go to details and if I see on this, writing up, yeah. If I click on additional details, I'd see like, the credentials to use. This is what I was talking about. The credentials to use ensures like this is me. This is me who is trying to access this. This is not going to be jeopardized by someone who's not part of this systems or access given. Okay. So end users credentials is this, or maker provided credentials as this. Let's say, for example, the maker, whosoever is making this, this agent, it is going to be validating with that maker's credentials, or it's going to be validating with the end user credentials, the one who is logging on. When I say that, and I come back to Dynamics 365, and I ask something very, very mundane and dumb. Okay, so let me click on the Copilot sidecar and see. It's going to take a while. I'm waiting it up for a long, long time. That's why. So I'm just asking, can you uh, let me know? Yeah, Rajashekar, I can see your hands up. Yeah, tell me.
Yes, Subhashish. So one question you mentioned about the inputs, right? So what exactly these inputs gonna utilized for and how we can provide the inputs?
Okay, I will show you that. I'll be coming to that. So inputs by, from a technical standpoint, inputs are what? Say, for example, I need an input to run a function. I need input parameters to run a method, input parameters to run a query. Okay, so these are the inputs to it. For this particular, particular MCP server, this particular MCP, ERP MCP tool, we don't have anything input defined by Microsoft. That's why it's coming as almost blank. But say, for example, I've created an MCP server which is going to, return me with the address, with the the weather details. So for that, the input in this case is going to be various inputs like, the coordinate of your city or the date of on which you want to know. There's other parameters like wind condition, humidity you want to know. So all these are potential candidates for your inputs. Okay, you can craft your MCP server in such a fashion like these are the inputs that I might be needing to run something, run some program at my MCP end and come back with the details. Okay, so this is what the inputs are doing actually. Is that does that make sense, Rajashekar? Let me know. Otherwise, I will try to explain more.
Yeah, I get it. So it's more like a variable thing that you provide it so that user can input to their prompts.
Yeah. So I'm asking a very dumb question. Can you let me know the vendor groups that are present in USMF legal entity? I'm just asking this question and I'm hitting enter. Let's see what happens. It's going to take a while. I'm going to come back. And what happens at the back end is, you can find out what is going on. So if you go to tools and if you go to activities, you could see what are all the activities basically that has been happening, recently or in the past, and all these things. It's going to be recorded out here in the activities in this tab. So I'm just waiting. You see, it brilliantly brings out the vendor groups in the USM's legal entity without writing any code. You can write anything else also. Say, for example, can you tell me how many vendors, anything I'm asking, how many vendors are there under the group like that? So I'm again hitting enter and let's wait. So what it is going to do is that it's going to find out the relevant query for that. So if you ask the same question, you might not be able to see what is going on from here. But if you ask the same question from the backend, I mean, from the Copilot Studio Tools test session, you should be able to see what is happening here. So you see, these are the 7 vendors under the groups. If you ask the same question from here, let me go back to my Copilot Studio, Copilot Studio and test session, and I'm asking the same question in the USMF legal entity. I'm asking the same question here and I'm hitting enter. It should be able to show you the rationale for or all its, what all are the things that it is calling. So for example, it's calling the Dynamics 365 ERP NCP. It is finding the data entities. It is finding the metadata. It is doing all the queries and all these things that are coming up. And eventually it is going to give you the list of it. So you see, you can find out the list of all the actionables that it is carrying out and coming back to you. So you see, it's just like a human being, as if you yourself are logging on to this data entity and you are filtering by it. Okay. This is just an example. There are much more dangerous examples which I'm going to show you. So fasten your seatbelts. I'm taking you deeper. Let me take a pause here and ask you a question. Like if you have any questions on this. All right. So let me take you to something else now. So there is a new agent that has, there is new MCP server that has come, which is known as how I say this. This is known as the BPA MCP server. So the BPA MCP servers are business process analytics, which can help you in analyzing the various patterns, various trends of your business to understand the processes of your business, how things are going on your business, and do the needful. So it's also the same way where you can basically if you go to the tools and you can add all these things out here in your so once again, just quickly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, can you, let me, sorry for the disturbance. And say, for example, here, I have added this MCP Dynamics 365 ERP Analytics MCP server tool. And what I've done is that if I ask a question, something like this, okay, let me copy the prompts that I've already kept them ready. Say, for example, you are asking, can you get me the details of the top performing these things? If I ask Control V, hitting enter, and let's see. Okay, again, it's going to show you. So I've created a simple agent called Analytica, and I've added this tool inside it. You see, it is going to call that all the necessary tools that are associated with it, and going to keep on executing the queries. So when I say queries, the queries are not the normal SQL Server queries. So this is are more of these are known as a DAX query. We call it on for the BP MCP servers. I mean, that is actually is getting executed here. So these are all the list of tools, and it is executing in the meanwhile. And just not that, you see, first of all, it's going to find out what are the potential data sources which it needs to ask questions. If it and it will ask the question it will execute the query, and if it does not able to find answers, it will refresh the query, and it will keep on asking questions unless it comes to some kind of a tangible answer and gives it back to you. So imagine this, like it's more of someone who is walking under you, and you as a manager, you are asking him to do some exercises, and that person is doing various kinds of researches. What is the best possible way to find out the answer, and it is doing various kinds of exercises to find out to come to a tangible conclusion. So you see, it is going to take some time. Execute query. You see, execute DAX query. DAX query is, as I was saying, like this is the query that has with the BP MCP servers, and it is executing this. Let's wait. If I take you back to the same thing in your, if I ask the same thing in here, uh, in the immersive home, if I ask the same thing here, if I Control V. So what is the difference between this? This is where I'm making use of the same ERP BP MCP server, and the other tool that you saw was by using my own agent. So this agent is Dynamics 365's built-in agent for finance and operations. And the agent that I was showing you as Analytica, I've created this agent, if you remember. So I've created this agent called the Analytica. This agent is basically, I have created my own agent, and this agent is Microsoft's agent. So I'm hitting enter and asking the same question and see what it comes back with. So in both cases, it's going to take a while. And you see that it is going from one branch to the next and trying to figure out what the best possible solution is. So you find out finally, it's saying that here are the top vendors for legal entities, USMF, best suppliers. So these are the details of the top performing vendors for USMF legal entity. And if you come back to immersive homes response, you see it is coming with the same responses. Yes, in a a little bit fanciful response, like making certain fonts bolder, like that, all these things. So I can ask something, something deeper, something much more intuitive. Say, for example, if I ask something, but check for top selling products, if I ask this for purchase invoices, if I ask this question, and let's see what happens. So it's going to do the same set of exercises by querying the DAX query, and it's going to come back to you with all its responses. Let's wait, and I will show you, like in the meanwhile, I will show you a lot of things that are associated with BP MCP servers, which I personally have felt. Like, if you ask questions that does not involve some kind of a plotting, then it's fine. You see, it's very, very direct questions. How your what are the the top selling products? What is the top performing vendors? Okay, so you see, these are direct queries. If you ask it to plot some kind of a response, some kind of the vendors again purchase orders. How many vendors did the maximum of the purchase orders over last quarter? Question of like this, which involves some kind of a graph plot, then there is a problem. It is unable to understand the plot, unable to render the plot. So say, for example, I'm asking a question like this. Can you, okay, so as I was saying, sorry. Yeah, as I was saying, so in that case, what should you do? So if you say, can you give me the plot of the vendor's most purchased items. Can you see it? Give me a plot like that. It's unable to render the response as a plot. That's a drawback of the BP MCP servers on here. So if you do a Copilot, if you ask it on Copilot also, like why is it like that? The Copilot responses, like there are certain drawbacks of these agents like this. What was the drawback? Like it is unable to figure out, unable to render the plots or images like this if you have generated, if you're asking to generate from some kind of this MCP servers. So how can you resolve this kind of issues? What is the workaround for that? Very simple. So I am doing what? I am getting hold of this query. Can you get vendor wise purchase order trends? You see, it's a plot, it's a graphical representation with tabular summaries. Indicate the trend by up and down arrows. The up and down arrows and vendors with moderate or unchanged amount marked as stable. So I am just giving this, copying this, and just pasting it here. So if I hit enter, you'd see it's going to work as accordingly, and your plot is going to render it as up arrow, down arrow like that. It's going to give you how is it performing. Instead of plotting it, you can get an approximate view of it. Okay. The same question. Now you see it's something very strange. Okay. I'm just copying this and I'm going back to my immersive home and asking this. If you remember the difference is basically this is the Copilot Studio for financial operation, and this one was the Copilot Studio for my own created agent. Okay. So I'm asking the same question from here. I'm copying and pasting it here and hitting enter. Let's see what happens. So in both cases, the responses are going to be different. So just let's wait and let's come back. Okay. It's again executing the DAX query and it's finding out all the possible combinations. Like you see, these are the queries that it is basically executing. And these are the var results. So var is what? Var is basically some kind of a result whose data type I'm unaware of. So it's all generating all this syntaxes, all these queries all by itself. You don't need to ask your developer to do this. Imagine the string of the MCP server. Okay, so that's what actually it's doing. Let's give some more time to it. And you see, there was an internal server error while trying to retrieve and plot the vendor. Well, this is the problem. This is exactly the problem because you know what? What happens is it is unable to render the visuals on Copilot Studio. So that's why you have to do some kind of a workaround, let it go, let it get executed in the meanwhile, and let's see what happens. Okay, so just in the interest of time, I'll jump onto something also equally interesting, something known as as I was saying, like how you can leverage MCP servers on your Visual Studio Code. So I have already created this just to save time. If you go to here in the command palette, and if you go and show and run commands, so here itself you can give and add an MCP server. So this is my Visual Studio Code, and in my Visual Studio Code, I can run and add an MCP server, whereby I can give an HTTP on server side events. So when you say that, how do you say that MCP server? How should it look like? It should look like in the following URL. You see, this URL /MCP. If you give that, that is going to be your endpoint for your MCP server. So it's going to do lots of validation. So it's asking you, your credentials, all those things. After validation, it's going to run the service. So when that service is run, you can come down to here and you can launch the code. The chat session. So the chat session looks like, open quick chat. You can launch from here. Okay, so if you go to this, and you can also let me quickly copy this. Quickly, I'm copying this. This is the example that I was talking about. It looks exactly like a human being. You are asking a human being how to read. Can you get me the details of vendor groups from USMF? Okay. Now you need to do the following: open the menu items vendor group, read from the form, and then close the form, and then finally get me the records in a grid. You see, just as if you're opening a form physically, you are reading the contents of the form, and then you are closing the form, and then you present the data in a grid and use MCP settings to get the results. When you say that MCP settings, you see it is running and there are 21 tools. Imagine this, guys, 21 tools that are already available. So you can click on this, you can see these are the options: stop server, restart server, show configurations. Show configurations, if you see that, these are the configurations that are available. And you see so many options that are available. So these are, there are 21 tools. And if I just hit enter, okay, it is going to do this exercise, opening the form by finding out what is the best possible tool that are available. So it's finding out the vendor group. You see, vendor group is the menu item for that. So it's asking me, shall I do this? It's asking for a permission. I'm granting it, allow. When I'm hitting enter, it's going to do this, opening the menu item, reading the contents from there, and then it's going to close the menu item once again and come back to me. Yeah. So let's wait until this exercise gets over. Uh, I am going back to my, the query, and let's see how it works. You see, here are the vendor wise, as I was saying. You see the vendors trend. It is showing the purchase orders. You see the best suppliers, filters applied. So these are the trend it is showing by, as I was saying, like it is going up and is going down, or it is stable like that. It is showing the trend like this. So this is how you can get to an approximate walk around of how you can make your plot be visible to your Dynamics 365 Copilot Studio. Okay. So you see, again, it's asking, coming back. So I'm going back and forth. So sorry, guys, for that. Just in the interest of time, I'm just allowing once again here. And it is running the form open menu item. Firstly, it found the menu item, and then it's running the form open menu item, and it's basically giving you the list of all the vendor groups that are available. So it closed the menu item and then the grid format. Perfect. I've required the vendor groups like this. So imagine this, guys, like you can use this MCP server, component on your Visual Studio Code, and you can create the skills. And skills, you can create the skills and use them on a different agent on your Copilot. Okay, so how you can create the skills? I'm not getting into that because it's completely a technical session. You have to involve a lot of Python inside it. I'm not getting into that, but I promise maybe if on a later time, maybe I will get in touch with Anita and Ventesh regarding this. Like we can keep up, we can keep a session on adding skills and all those things, so that you can also create your own skills and you can leverage them on Dynamics 365. For now, you see the excellence, the magnificence of this. Like you see, didn't need to write any code. It's just executing it. It's just finding out what is the best possible menu item, what is the best possible script code to run the queries, bring out the queries details, and expressing them as a grid layout on your chat bar, on your sidecar. So additionally, what you can do is that you can select the tools. Say, for example, that these are the models that are available. You can select any other models of your choice, but mostly you should use something that is within there are certain models, as you know. Some models are basically, if I select something known as DeepSeek is a very powerful model, but that is outside of this commended model. So it will take a lot of time going back and forth. So you should choose some model which is going to be very local and very easily available. So I'm using any one of this model and to communicate with the MCP server, and it is communicating back with this so effortlessly. Let me take a pause here and let me ask questions. Like if you have any query, please you can ask me.
I have a question, Subhashish.
Yes.
So, is it only fetching the data from the default company? For instance, maybe the app registration which we have used might be mapped to the USMF. So, if we want to read from the other companies, like not the default one. So do we need to change the query accordingly here?
Yes, exactly. So here you see, I have mentioned that if you go, like I have mentioned in the USA, that you can change that here itself. And you can ask, it's basically cross-company that data that is enabled in your OData JSON, so that it can fetch.
Got it. So the cross-company feature is already embedded in the server itself, right? So we don't need to explicitly specify. So I could relate it with the OData, the call, where in the OData we will be specifying the cross-company where you need to fetch from the other default companies, right? So in this case, it is not needed. The MCP server itself has the intelligence to interpret what we are asking.
Asking for.
Yeah.
So that's a very, very, very good question, Anita. So guys, like if you can understand, like imagine this, like if you do this, if you are asked to do the same exercise by, writing a OData, JSON OData endpoint all by yourself, imagine the pain and the effort that you would have to write for crafting out such an endpoint like that. But leave it entirely to MCP server, let it figure out the best possible query for you and it's going to come back to you. Imagine this. So really, it's an awesome feat from Microsoft. All right. So in the interest of time, let me take you to some
question. Sorry, Shubhashish.
Yes, yes.
So
Yes, yes.
whether this MCP can be deployed on-premise, because especially in the region of UAE and the GCC, we have lot of on-prem implementations happening here. So whether will this MCP can be deployed so that we can use all our Copilot capabilities in the on-prem implementations?
Okay. I think actually your MCP queries are all executing at the server end itself. If you see, it is downloading, it is finding out the best possible tools for your everything um, at your server end itself. Just how you're doing that by referring the MCP's endpoint in your tools. So in the tools, if you see, if I go back to the tools and you see, I have embedded, I have referred the necessary tool for it. So when I'm finding say for example, I want to find out what are my customers for customer groups so and so, or what are the pending invoices for my vendors like this. So basically, it's finding out the best possible tool and asking all the queries at a database that is located either on the cloud or on your local premises. It doesn't matter. So I think you can refer it directly and you can get it executed. It's going to find out the necessary for you. There is no such thing that you need to install explicitly for an MCP server. You just have to refer it. That's it.
Okay, got it. Thank you, Subhash.
Yes. Okay. Now there is something very, very interesting for you guys. I promise. Okay. So, okay, let me take you to something known as the immersive home. Okay, immersive home agent feeds. Okay. So immersive homes is in immersive home, all of you know, like immersive home is becoming a bits and piece of our everyday life. It can, if I go down, you see so many approvals are there, travel requisitions, so many resubmit expense reports, so many things are there. Okay. Apart from that, imagine a situation, okay, where you are in the midst of in a project where you have an integration, a heavy data integration, where your integration endpoints keep on sending you uh, payloads, sending you files, sending you information, and you have to regularly keep a tab, keep an eye on how each of these integrations are working. How can you do that? If it's a recurring integration, it's very simple. There are a couple of blogs by Anita and Rachit on recurring integration. Just in case that if you want to take a look at how you can set up the recurring integration, suggest you to take a look at these blogs. Very, very informative. So in these kinds of integrations, what happens is you have to go to your data management framework. You have to go to the individual definition group and you have to find out how your integrations are working, if any of them is failing or not. Who is having so much time these days, guys? Okay, so instead of that, why don't you make use of MCP servers to help you out? I will show you how. This is very interesting and this is very, very new that is coming up. You can leverage this. Say, for example, I am going to our friend called the feature management. My bad. Spelling mistake. Okay, I'm going there. So you have to ensure that you have turned on this few features in order to leverage that. I'm going to all, and I'm just filtering by, this feature called, I'm just filtering it. This feature is one of our contains basically immersive. Okay, you see production review agent feed for immersive home. This is very, very important. You have to turn it on. See, for example, have turned it on already. That's why it's showing as visible. Okay, and obviously, not to mention immersive home is also needed. And you see, this is a preview feature. It's going to be available. It's now I'm actually on 10:47. It's going to be available soon. Okay, so this feature once you have turned on, what you need to do are a couple of activities. Okay. What are the activities that you need to do? Very simple. So if I go back to my agents, okay, sorry, if I go back to my Power Platform, and so in my PPAC, in my Power Platform Admin Center, you know how to go to your Dataverse in. Okay, you are familiar with you're familiar with your Dynamics in. I want to go to my here, just a moment, let it get loaded. Okay, so this is the instance that I was referring to. Let me click on this. I'm just clicking on this, and eventually this will open. Okay, this will open. I'm clicking on this, and this will open. So from here, what I'm doing is that I need to enable a couple of virtual entities. Okay, couple of virtual entities. So what are the virtual entities do I need to turn on? So here are certain examples. So here the filter out here. So I'm clicking on this filter. So this side pane will open. You all know this, just in case if you're not aware of how to filter for virtual entities. That's why I'm showing this process. Otherwise, if in case you already have ideas, you can skip this. No worries. So you can come to the classic mode of search, and eventually this window will open, whereby you need to filter from here. Sorry, need to filter from here the available finance and operation data entities, and I'm saying that where data entity is equal to agent feed entity, and my apologies, like it's a very small window. Okay, I'm just increasing the font out here. So it's called agent feed entity. Very, very important. You need to turn this on as a visible data entity. So I'm just executing the result. I'll be able to see, like, you see, this is visible is equals to yes. In case it is not yes, you have to turn it on as visible. What is this? Basically, this agent feed on immersive home, it makes you use of something known as a card API. What is a card API? I will show you that. Before that, I'm coming to it, like you need to turn on the visibility of agent feed entity. So agent feed entity is what? Basically, this is what is going to take your activity that is happening. Say, for example, your some kind of a data failure is happening, or as I was giving an example of your integration is failing. All these things, basically, this is the conduit. This is the channel through which your information is going to come from Dynamics world via the virtual entities into the immersive world. Okay. So you have to turn this as visible. I have turned it on already, because if I turn it on now, it's going to take pakka 10 minutes to complete it. So I'm just avoiding it. I'm just making use of already I've set it as visible, and I'm closing this. Okay. So once this is done, I have created a very simple flow out here. What is this flow doing? Let me tell you. Okay. So let the flow get turned on. Yeah. So the flow is loading. So I'm saying when a row is added or modified. Okay. When a row is added or modified, as you can understand, it's a Dataverse activity. It's a Dataverse trigger. Okay. So what it is going to do is that it's going to say that the table name is DMF Data Project Execution MS ERP. What is this? this corresponds to the one that you just have turned on. This is okay. So you are saying that when something is added or deleted, when something is added or deleted, and the scope is organization, you know what does this mean? When I say organization, it means like for the data area ID that I'm logged on to, if it is USMF or INMF or USRT, whatever, I'm selecting the organization. It's going to consider that organization, that data area ID only. So once I say that in the condition, once I say that, this means I'm listening to, I'm triggering to, I'm catering to any change in any of this data records that are getting impacted, and I'm tapping the contents of the data. And in the next step, what I'm doing is that I am just give me a moment, guys. There was a discussion here. 1 second. Am I audible, guys? There was a distraction.
Yeah, you're
Once
audible.
back. I'm just sharing my screen once again. Just looking at the figures. Hey, all right, yeah. So yeah, I'm back. So it's saying that data. Okay, I'm saying that data table name is this, and here inside this, if it is true, like if the status is equals to like this, what is this? So you see, whenever any kind of failure happens, this is the status 2000 or whatever, 2007 or 2 lakhs. I mean, 2000, so many zeros, then 7. It means basically it's had a error out. It has encountered some kind of a error. Okay, so whenever this happens, you see what is that? This is the status is equal to error, the staging status or the target status. Any one of this is at some kind of an error. It is going to come to the true part. Okay. So here what I'm saying is that execute agent and wait. What is this agent is doing? See, I'm calling the copilot for finance and operation, and I'm waiting. Can you get me? This is very interesting, guys. Can you get me the detail of the error message for input job execution ID equal to this? Where the job ID I'm getting this. Okay. So yes, let me show you in a bigger picture. Yeah. I'm getting the job ID from here. And then you need to do the following: open display menu item, staging execution history, read from the form, and do the filtration on job ID and then close the form. Use MCP settings to get the results. So essentially what I'm doing is that I'm going back to my Dynamics 365 Copilot Studio for Financial Operations. Okay. And I'm getting this result by passing on this variable job ID. And I'm tapping the results from here. So, say for example, 1 second, let me find out like if I've kept this on. So, yes. Okay, so I'm just copying this, guys. So, this is the query that I was actually planning to show you. I'm just copying this and coming to the Copilot. I'm launching my Copilot from here, and let's see what happens. So, I'm just copying this and pasting this. Okay. So it's going to get the details of your failure, whatever has failed, and it's going to show you the results by gisting it out, by summarizing it. So exactly that's what it is doing here in your this execute agent and wait. So I think guys, you know what is the difference between execute agent and wait. There's a difference. Execute agent and wait is something as an asynchronous activity, and we can quite understand this. Whereas execute agent is what? It's going to give you the execution then and there. It's just going to execute and forget. Okay, so we have to wait, because you see MCPs take sometimes quite a time. You see, this is entity is V2, the staging error, it did not run quite well and it failed, and staging status it indicate that all this data is coming up. So I want these results. I want these results from the agent, and that's what I'm feeding the results out here. Okay, and then this is the interesting part. Then I'm doing what? I'm sending out this input to a prompt. So what is this prompt doing? This prompt is getting the details of it and summarizing it. And can you get a summarization of the error message? Because as you can understand, it's going to be some kind of a very, very detailed outcome. I don't want that. I just want a summarization of it. Remove any unwanted errors and all these things I'm giving as a prompt. And I can also take this quickly. And I just want the result of this be recorded in this. If the summary of the message is coming like this. Okay. So whatever is coming out of this, I'm just saving this. And then finally, I'm performing an outbound action. This is where you are contacting with the immersive homes. Immersive home, you're recording the result in the immersive home. So where I'm doing is that there's an action in this card API which I was talking about. This card API. Okay. Hello guys, can you hear me?
Yes, Subhashish.
Yeah. So sorry for the disruption. So yeah. So this is an action name. You see, these are the actions, the action names that are available. I have to use this MS Dynamics agent feed create feed item custom API. So this is the custom API that you need to call. And there are liter of inputs that you need to feed in. Say, for example, you have to create obviously you can understand you need to create some kind of a GUID. So I'm creating the Power Apps GUID to create this. Definition group action is what you need. This definition, DNF definition group action is once again, the data entity. So this data entity also you need to go here. Also, you need to go here and you need to you need to find it. You need to need to find it and you need to do a filtration of it. And you need to make it as visible, because if you don't do that, it won't be able to understand that this data entity is available. So I have already done that. And then concatenating, concatenating what? So let me click on this and concatenating the review job ID equals to all these details I'm giving. The body of the job ID, all these details I'm giving. And finally, I'm giving the main payload for data import, the agent schema is this, data validation method, here, all these things I'm giving. And finally, I am also passing on, you see, I'm also passing on this what? This is prompts, the prompt in the prompt that I was calling in the previous step, the result of that prompt. So if I click on this, I'll be able to see the prompt here, clicking on the effects, and I'm going to go back down, 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 and I'll be able to see the prompt here. You see the run a prompt, response, and all these things are basically I can get from here. So I need the prediction output, the prediction output of this. So that's what I have done here. And this is the subject matter. The subject, the content, the title of your prompt. That is, it needs attention, data import error, all these things. I can also customize. I can also make this runtime dynamic, whatever. Finally, this is what the card provider is. This is the, if you go back to your the feature management. Sorry, if I come out of the feature management, if I go back to my this thing, immersive home. This is a card. These are all different cards, and we are going to call this cards API from your Power Automate. Exactly, that's what I'm doing. Where I'm calling this Power Automate card provider from here, and it's going to, whenever it's going to encounter any kind of error, it's going to record the result in this immersive form. I'm taking a pause here. Please ask me questions. It's a little complex, but you can feel free to ask me anything you are having. So if you are having any difficulty in understanding what I just was explaining, you can get in touch with me later also on LinkedIn. You can ask me questions. So this is the idea. Idea is like whenever any kind of activity that is continuously happening and that needs attention, that needs some kind of introspection intervention, you can set this up so that it can come and sit on your immersive home, and you don't need to manually go there and check every time yourself. This is one. This is one. You can make use of this process. So let me know if you have any question. I will try to answer. Okay. So with that, let me come. It's already over time, and let me come to the last topic. That is the agent feed for that is this is also available on just not on Dynamics F&O but also on Dynamics CE. So what I've done is that I have created a very simple agent known as go to agents. 1 second, if you go to the agents, and there is an agent which I have created called Cabby. It's a very simple agent. What it is doing is that it's going to just can help you create cab bookings. So it's a Canvas app. I'm taking you to there in my Power Power Apps. Let me go there. Yeah. So, one moment, let me take you to the app which I've created. It's a very simple app, and inside my apps here, I've created a very simple app called Cabby. So you see, where is my yeah. To change the environment is different. Okay. So here is my Cabby app. So if I run this, you see it is going to it will let you book a cab on anyone's name, and that cab is going to be recorded. The cab details are going to be recorded on a database table, and an agent feed, human in the loop kind of an agent feed is going to be triggered. Say, for example, we see so many already, so many entries I've created just for testing purpose. I can also create a new one. Say, for example, I'm creating an app in the name of, booking an app in the name of Vintage. Okay. And the date is asking any date I'm giving, and location, say, for example, location A to location B, and pickup time it's also going to ask. So I'm giving any pickup time, anything like 8 a.m. And then I'm just saving and close. Okay, let me give some more time, some more entries to it. Say, for example, I'm adding couple of more records here. So by the way, here you can also drag and drop your JSON contents, your text contents automatically here. And the copilot of Power Apps can understand and can create the records for you. So I'm just giving some more name here. Say, for example, run it all like that. I'm giving a name. So, and the date, once again, I'm giving some random date like this. And then pickup location is, say, for example, again, log C to log B like that. And this is what, and I'm just again saving and close. And if I come back to here, you see this is the agent feed. This is what I was talking about. Just I'm refreshing this. You would see just now it has come. If you click on this, it's going to give you the details of it, of your agent feed, like it has come to it. So if we see the Venkatesh, I just created a cab booking on the name of Venkatesh. It has created it for you. And if I go back to my bookings, just not that, I can also see this is a very beautiful feature which has been recently introduced. If I click on this visualize, I can see who has booked when, all these graphs will show on its own, and it's generating the chart. Uh, See, these are different people who has booked the cab on different times, and you can just not this. You can change the structure from from any type. See, for example, cluster chart. So, for example, I'm changing it to some other format and some other format. All these things is going to, you can do it on the runtime. You can ask queries as usual, like it's some kind of a BP analytics, which I was talking about. You can ask about the data in this table, visualize this view as a column chart, bookings when the pickup location is one, or this all these things. Can you show me the bookings under the name of Ramit, all as a chart? If I hit enter, is automatically going to explore the data, do the data mining, and come back to you accordingly. So all these things you see, this is done, and just I'm going to show you. See, these are the the month booking date is showing you. Like that, you can change the type from anything from here to any type of data sets you want to visualize it as you're convenient with. You can change this view. And how this is done is very simple. What I've done is that I have created back to my in my tools in my agent. Sorry. So here is my agent. Just I'm not going to take much time. I think I know it's quite late. So just I'm going back down. I can find from sorry. Here's the wrong one. This is wrong. A second. Clicking from here, and I'm going to yes. Okay. So I've created a you know an agent called Caddy. And inside that agent, I've given a trigger, as you can quite understand, that whenever something is booked, you should record this as an agent feed. The same exercise that I was doing for finance and operation, I'm doing the same thing out here. So if I go to the agents and I'm selecting, I'm filtering by the agent that I just created, Caddy, and it's over there. So this is my agent which I was talking about. So inside this agent, I am making use of Dataverse MCP server. Yes, he did my Dataverse MCP server. My tools, I made use of this Microsoft Dataverse MCP server. Okay, and I have also added a very simple trigger point, which is nothing but a flow. Okay, right. I said trigger. Okay. So when a row is added, modified, or deleted, if I click on this, you see it's going to take me to my triggers that are available, which is associated with this agent, and it's doing exactly the same thing that I was describing earlier. That whenever a row is added, modified, or deleted, that is CRB07 booking, which is nothing but the table that is associated with this app. Automatically, you should send a prompt to the specific copilot for processing. So you see, these are the use contents of the body. The agent is this. Send a prompt to the specified copilot. The copilot agent is Caddy, and just wait for this execution to be over. So this is what I am doing here. Whenever any as you can see, any new record is encountered, it's just going to record that name and going to show to you. Okay, so I'm just closing this, and yeah, let me stop here. Let me know if you have any question, because there was quite a lot of information to process on one day. Uh, please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Subhashish, for such an insightful session. Let me share my screen. Give me a minute. 1 second, guys. So let me know once you're able to see my screen.
Yes.
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 All right. So our next session is on 25th of April, which is by Abdul Rashid. So it was Agentic session 2. It got rescheduled to April 25th. Please do scan and register. And we'll be taking through Azure AI Foundry along with MCP and what can we use it on a day-to-day use cases, how it get transformed in your agentic transformations. So that is what we're going to teach in the next session. Please do register using the QR code. Thank you so much, Subhashish, and thanks everyone for your time, for joining us over a weekend and spending your time on learning. We're looking forward to see you on our next session. Thank you, Anita. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a
everyone.
good weekend
Thank you.
all. Bye.